personal journey into coaching has really influenced what I'm doing. So as I've talked about, I'm an educator by trade. I'm a scientist by background. I used to work as an engineer. And I was good at my job. And then I started not being good at my job. And that was really hard because I wasn't very forgiving of myself. But I also had this drive that said, but I'm in a position of responsibility. I owe it to my staff, which actually meant I didn't put me first, which was one of my first rules of first aid. I always used to tell my staff, you put yourself first. And when you put yourself first, you're in a better place to support our young people in the school. And I ignored that rule for myself. And when I've reflected back, what was really happening at this point was the perimenopause was affecting me in so many different ways. I have a default setting, which is don't do today what you can leave till tomorrow. But one of the things that happens in perimenopause is your stress tolerances drop. Now, I was designed to flow off stress, not excessive stress, but a level of stress. And I suddenly found myself not able to do that. But I was a head teacher during the pandemic in perimenopause. It wasn't a great combination, if I'm really honest, and therefore stress was completely out of control. And it started to impact the way I was thinking, to the extent that I eventually had to admit defeat and left with burnout. Now, looking back, I think I was probably in burnout for well over a year before that happened. And when I left, when I retired from teaching, I didn't really have a clear view of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. But what developed over the 3 months that I was off sick before I finally left was this real desire to make sure that as many women as possible had as much information and knowledge and skill set within them so that this didn't happen to them. So this is very much about trying to give back from the learning that I've had and trying to make sure that fewer women experience that journey into burnout. Because when I researched it, I discovered, and there's some research done with nurses around burnout and perimenopause. And then there's some generalization from that research, which goes into the caring professions in general. It said that women in caring professions in perimenopause had a higher likelihood of experiencing burnout than the general population of women. And there were several factors involved in this. One of them was the type of leadership around them. So that's important. And that's where that bit around teaching women to lead from both their female and their male side and be free to do that. Because far too often in this experience that they were coming across, it was women leaders who were saying things, and it's my personal experience too, who were saying things like, just take your HRT and man up, which is not helpful. So there's this real drive that says that's not fair. And this background knowledge that says this is happening all over the place. It's not just you, it's a lot of people, and when they've looked at this across like police, social care, teaching, all of these different areas, there's that same thing. And I would say, and I would argue actually, that it's not about the professions, it's about the nature of the females. Because so many of us are driven to care for others first, which puts us at risk of burnout. So it's also about giving women permission to put themselves first. And the best way to do that is to use my skill set, and my absolute love of psychology and coaching, and my ability as a scientist to drive forward the job that I'm doing now.